scavenger reviews here, and it's not exactly the best cosplay, but it's what I have. It's what I have. Anyways, before we get started, two slight channel updates. One, I am going to be moving soon, so if anyone's noticed the change of quality between certain videos and stuff, is whether or not I'm using this phone or my other phone that doesn't have service on it. And I'm going to have to start using my one that does, because that one is the one I'll be able to upload on. And the other channel update thing would be that, so I guess I should have seen this coming, but given the fact that I do both videos about, scary horror movies and videos about action figures and Transformers and Star Wars and stuff like that in this instance, I can kind of, in hindsight, see the problem that would have obviously arose of that I'm getting a lot of, younger fans, and I don't really have a problem with that, except for, I definitely do not tailor my content to children at all, and I curse, I make a lot of dirty jokes, it is not suitable for younger ages at all. So from now on, anytime I make a video exclusively about something that is super violent, if you actually go back, sorry, I feel like I have to sneeze, but anyways, I actually went back and I I didn't remake my videos, but I made all of my videos age restricted, where I'm talking about, horror movies, or something very violent and scary. Is that going to tank my views? Yes, but at least my conscience will be clean, and I won't have the judge of myself, I won't judge myself for keeping said videos up where I talk about, all manner of horrible things. Anyways, getting away from that and getting on to my review of, well, not really a review just yet. There will be a full review once I finish it, but my look at and my first impressions of The Acolyte. So I have watched the first 2 episodes, and let me just say, this show is good. Why were y'all hating on that? I really don't see the cause for the hate at all. It's quite good. Ugh. Sorry, but I am melting in there. I have the hat on because if anyone else owns these, serious question, do they shrink? This, I remember being, it's been, a good year or so, but I really feel like this has gotten smaller, or maybe my head is just massive. Yes, I have a hat on, but I have the hat on because it was hurting my head without it on. So, but anyways, I feel like these, I don't know if they shrink or whatever, but it's not comfortable. And it's got a little harness on the inside that I could take off if I wanted to. But that would make it all wobbly and not move with my head right. So I guess I'm just gonna have to kind of tough it out, It'll be what it is. Anyways, though, it's not impossible. I just remember this being one of the ones that fit my head better, because I have a very big head. I know this. I'm not even hating on myself. It's not a bad thing. I just do. Well, it is a bad thing because I buy $100 helmets or even more, and they don't fit my head right because my big fat head. Anyways, The Acolyte is actually really good. So I'm really liking this so far. It's giving me God of War Ghost of Sparta vibes, with the whole twin sister thing. Nobody spoil it for me, but it's giving me very twin, God of War Ghost of Sparta vibes. I was like, this is totally Deimos and Kratos, And I think that's a really cool and very apt comparison, because I like the characters, and I like how distant this one is, you know? This one is set like 100 years before the rise of the Empire. It even says that in the very first episode. And it's completely separate, completely in its own world, its own characters. You know, nobody we know is going to show up except for Yoda. I guarantee it. Like, I haven't seen it yet, but I guarantee, like, Star Wars, like, Lucasfilm, they are not going to be able to hold back on showing us a slightly younger Yoda. Because, I mean, he's the only one, you know, Yoda, if they play their cards right, could be like our Logan, you know what I mean? Like how Logan shows up in every X-Men movie, regardless of the timeline, you know. Yoda could be that for Star Wars. And I really think that Disney should go with this, you know. I hear that they're making like a new trilogy, and they're making like a X-Wing pilot movie or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I would rather them, you know, nobody can be mad at you for, you know, rewriting canon and stuff like that if you just go to a spot where nothing is written. And I know there is Old Republic stuff, obviously, but here's the thing. A significantly less amount of people, myself included, I've never played the Old Republic games, and I've never read a single Old Republic book, you know? The CG trailers that would come out for the, like, Knights of the Old Republic, that's it. That is my extent of knowledge. Looks pretty cool. I know, like, Darth Malice and Darth Talon and Darth, Revan with the two lightsabers. I know of them. I don't know what they're about or what they do. But, just, you know, be respectful to the canon, and I feel like you could really have a lot of wiggle room. You know, this isn't as, it doesn't quote unquote need to line up, you know, because as long as you don't have something monumental, then you can do just about anything you want, and it'll still line up because it's 100 years ago. But I mean, again, I'm only 2 episodes in, so if these other 4 are like just absolutely awful, then I'll take back what I'm saying, you know? But I really just think it's a race thing, you know? Because, like, what else is the issue? You're just going in wanting to hate it, wanting to dislike it. I went in with 0, like, expectations at all. So, I mean, obviously, if you go in with 0 expectations, you could only be impressed. Whew. Anyways, that is really heavy on my head. Anyways, if you go in, but I really feel like it's just a race thing. Like, why else would you dislike it so much? Well, it's just a woman thing, you know, because they have, like, a female lead as the main character. And, like, yeah, it didn't really work out the last time they had a female lead, you know, sequel trilogy. But, I don't know, man. Give it a shot. Give it a chance. I actually am very adamant of the actually watch it, you know, sentiment. You know, I hate whenever you see, like, you know, people always preemptively forming opinions on things, and, you know, just very first trailer, very first teaser, very first announcement, they're like, oh, this is gonna be terrible, this is gonna suck. If you feel like that, it doesn't feel like you're a fan, you know? If you just expect everything to be bad, it doesn't feel like you're a fan. You know, give stuff a chance, and, you know, that's what I'm doing. I don't know, man. Look, I know people are gonna say, like, oh, it's political trash, it's woke drama. Who the fuck cares? God forbid a black chick be in Star Wars, you know? Like, why is this a big deal? This is a universe with aliens and people of different species and people that are green, blue, yellow, red, black. Like, black, I mean, like Darth Maul black. Actual black, white, Asian, everything. You know, this is a movie, I mean, not a movie. a universe, where all of that stuff exists and different aliens and stuff, and we're still complaining about the fact that, there's a black chick, it's like, that's where you draw the line for your suspension of disbelief. They're like, no, I can accept that there's millions of planets out there. I can accept that it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But you introduce a black kid, It's just like, what? I don't know. That's all of the vitriol that I see for it. I just see, like, nobody straight up says, like, I don't like this because there's a black kid. What they say is, I don't like it because it's going woke. I don't like it because it's political, because it's inclusive and stuff like that. Why is that a bad thing? You don't have an answer because there isn't an answer, It's kind of the point of Star Wars is to be out there and have everything, So, like, why is it such a bad thing when it has things? And the other thing I see all the time is, why won't they do anything new? Why do they keep giving us the same old movies and shows and trends all over again? Why do they never do anything new? And then they actually do... By the way, check it out. Flashlight. And then they actually do something new, and everybody online and internet reviewers and stuff like that, critical drinker, you fucking twat, they always immediately go to, what is this? This is gonna look terrible. Disney's gone woke. Disney's done this. Star Wars has been ruined for a long time. I actually have fallen out of love with Star Wars in, like, the past 5-6 years, and now I'm only just now getting back into it, because not Disney, but the internet's reaction to Disney has broken me, dude. You know how hard it is to like something and be excited for something when, yes, these original movies are good and the prequels are good, but everything else, oh, but wait, actually this because we like it. But everything, oh wait, actually this too, because we like this too. But everything else has to be bad. It just feels like fake fan energy. I'm not saying you have to like everything. I'm not saying you have to just immediately accept any new product, whether it's gold or whether it's dribble. I'm not saying that. Still judge things with a criticism, in a critical eye and through the lens of a fan, okay? Because the critical drinker is not a fan, If you just hate anything new being added, like that new Predator trailer, it just kind of seems like you don't like it. And you're not actually a fan. Again, that doesn't mean you have to don't like everything. That doesn't mean you have to accept everything. I still haven't watched, actually, The Acolyte was the only show I'm missing. The Andor. Okay, so something that really got under my skin for some reason is, it was this random Instagram reel. I have no idea who it was. If I did, I would shout you out because you deserve it, because you got under my skin, like, enough to actually make me say, alright, I'm gonna get back into Star Wars. He called out people who weren't watching Andor and didn't like Andor and didn't like all of the new stuff like that. And he basically said what I'm saying is that you're a fake fan, because Andor is like true Star Wars, And let me tell you, dude, if Andor is true Star Wars, then Star Wars is boring as fuck. I don't like Andor. Does it have its moments? Yes. Does it have, some serious stuff and some good acting? Yeah, sure. I don't like it. Like, sure, maybe it's well written, but it is boring as shit, dude. The prison episodes were good. That was the only part where I was like, okay, I'm kind of liking this. And then there was like 4 episodes after he got out of prison. Andor is boring as shit. I forced myself to watch it. Like, seriously. And, something about the Acolyte versus Andor specifically is the Acolyte doesn't have the prequel problem. You know, where like you watch prequels, especially Star Wars is like the biggest name for when it comes to prequels. You watch prequels and you're like, this is nice, but I know that character lives, and I know that character dies, and that character was never in the next movie, so he's gotta die. You know, Andor, the dude fucking dies. Why does this is the one? This is like the one criticism of like I will definitely levy with like people on is like why does Disney feel the need to make things after a character dies? You know, like why did the Black Widow movie come out after spoilers she dies? You know, and then Rogue One comes out and it's a good fucking movie. I love it. It actually Rogue One has my favorite scene from Darth Vader and my least favorite scene from Darth Vader in the entire franchise. Which the favorite one is obvious, the hallway scene. Everybody loves it. Everybody's seen that movie and loves it, but I cannot stand the fact that Darth Vader makes a dad joke. You know? Because, like, Krennic walks in and is like, we stand amidst my accomplishment, not yours. And then Darth Vader does one of these and turns around and is like, be careful not to choke on your aspirations, director. You know? And it's like, why? Why did he do that? Why did he say that? And then they close out the movie with, again, one of the coolest fucking scenes where he just slaughters the fucking whole hallway of people. It is the coolest thing ever, dude. So it's got the cool stuff. And all the time when I'm watching Andor, I feel no fear for Andor. All the other characters, yeah, I don't really know or care about, because the show's so fucking boring that there is very little that no one care about besides, like, you know, his mom, which, you know, that's that. But, like, I don't know any of the other people, and I know they don't make it anyways. So what's the point? I don't know. I don't really like Andor. That show is boring as shit. I forced myself to watch 12 fucking episodes. Meanwhile, all the other Star Wars shows are 6 episodes. Like, you know, Boba Fett, Ahsoka. I don't remember how many episodes were for The Mandalorian. I might be eating my own words on this one, but I feel like it was 6 or 8 or something like that. Definitely not 12. Again, might be eating my words on that. It was been like a year since I watched The Mandalorian. You know what I mean? But with the acolyte, it's not only do I not know what's going to happen, I actually don't know who's going to live. There's this character named Master Soul, and like, I was actually kind of worried. I was like, oh shit, is May gonna kill him? I kind of thought, like, is that gonna be one of those scenes where they like kind of kill a very like important seeming and established character early out to make the threat seem more real? And I was worried for him. You know, I was actually kind of concerned. And that's a lot more than I can say for anything with Andor. I don't like it. It's boring. It is not giving me a single character to root for or care for besides Andor himself, Buzz, and I know Andor dies anyways. And I mean, look, I'm sounding like the biggest hypocrite right now because I love the prequels. Well, I already know that Obi-Wan dies and Anakin becomes Darth Vader. It's about the journey, not the destination. I know that. But, I don't know. You already gave me enough. You know, and then with Black Widow, I just didn't really like Black Widow as a movie in general. That's mostly because I messed up Taskmaster. There we go. Have I taken off my helmet enough times to match Pedro Pascal taking off his helmet so many fucking times in The Mandalorian, even though it stated that, like, taking off his helmet is sacrilege and against his religion and literally written into his character to not take the helmet off, and then he does, like, 20 times. Have I taken my helmet off enough to match that? You know? The only exception is I actually do like it, and I think it is the first time we see him take the helmet off, where he takes the helmet off to,
not invade, what's the word? Like, sneak into the Imperial base to save Grogu. I do like that. But then it seems like once the cat's out of the bag, he's just taking his helmet off. Like he definitely does it at least one more time, if not two more times. And it's like, I don't like that. But that's been my thoughts. We're looking at 20 minutes right now, so I'll finish it up. That's been my thoughts on the Acolyte. Definitely go try it out. Be an actual Star Wars fan and give things a try. Again, I'm not saying you have to like everything, but you should try everything. I mean, don't try like crack, but try the new Star Wars show.
Alright, well, I've been
Scavenger Reviews.
I will catch you guys
in the next one. Peace.